with this pressure, this is when I started drinking a lot. For me, this was my go-to.
You started...
I had started already drinking alcohol when I came here because it was new. I was working 3 jobs, studying with my little German. At some point, I almost got crazy. I grew up in this very strict family. Religious. We used to fast every Thursday. We used
to...
Yes. We were not allowed to wear trousers. We were not... Even my hair, like I've said before, me with locks would never have been allowed in that house. No boys. Nothing. I wasn't even allowed to read Harry Potter.
Wambui needs some hot water, some cold water to pour on herself now.
I used to call the people at the immigration offices, and when they say no, I would cry. And I was telling those women, I hope your child never has to go through this. And they said, no, Kiswahili is not a language. And they refused to give me a stamp for Kiswahili.
It's not a language.
They said it's not a language. I used to sit with my wine in the house and cry and regret ever coming to this country. Someone tells you, no, sorry, you can't do this. And you cannot work as a teacher without this. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Far From Home Diaspora Conversations. And we are very excited to have yet another conversation today. But before we start, we would like to thank our sponsors, TEDx Media, for their trust and for their continuous support. And we are going to let you know more about TEDx Media in the course of this conversation. My name is Wambui, and I'm really glad to be here. And my fellow host.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for just being here with us, listening to our conversations, commenting, telling us what you find good about the podcast, liking, sharing it with your friends and loved ones. We don't take that for granted. And that's why we say thank you. And what we have now introduced to the podcast, which maybe you have seen once or twice, is that at the end of the podcast, we have introduced what we are calling the hot seat. The hot seat means that we will be asking each other questions, just one question per episode. It will be either Wambui asking me a question or me asking Wambui a question. Mm-hmm. And for us, we have thought that we have to make this also interesting for us. Like we can ask about anything. And when we say anything, it means anything and everything.
No taboo topics.
Yes, it's exciting and it's also a bit
scary.
Ooh, yeah, because we never know. You never know from where the question is coming. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with the episode that will be, or with the conversation that we'll be having in that episode. So you get excited about that. I'm a bit, but we will be okay. We'll be okay. So today in this episode, Wambui had told us her story about coming to Germany as an au pair. And now in this episode, we are talking, it's a kind of continuation of how she started studying in Germany. And this is maybe a very important conversation for somebody who would want maybe to study in Germany. Mm-hmm. What is the process, especially if you came as an au pair, if you did not get your visa from Kenya to come and study. Because we all hear that after finishing au pair, you have to go back home.
Yeah.
So where does the studying come in? So my name is Carol Blombrock, and we are getting on into this conversation with Wambui.
Yes, I'm excited about this. And as usual, anything you hear in this conversation, especially the topics of how to do things, you can always ask us questions. And just like I made a short video of how to be an au pair, we can always make another video of how to do these things. So if you have questions, always feel free to ask us, and we are very prepared to tell you more about that.
Yeah. And what I found interesting last time, you finished off when you told us that you finished doing your au pair year, and then you were doing what you called FSJ. Mm-hmm. That's What is it called in English again?
FSJ, Freiwilliges Soziales Jahr.
That's German, yeah.
That's German. That's just a
it's
social year.
a social year.
Yeah.
And you also told us that you are getting paid.
Yeah.
So you were working in this place with people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, how were you preparing to study? Is it something that somebody told you to do in order to prepare for your studies? Or was it something you were just using to extend or doing to extend your stay in Germany?
I was doing that to extend my stay in Germany.
Okay.
Because like I had told you last time, by the time I was done with my au pair, I didn't have enough money and I also didn't have enough language. So I had started doing this social year as a way of improving my language and also being able to stay in this country for a while longer. Yeah.
And that is allowed. When you finish au pair, you can go and do FSJ.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Okay.
can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was important. There are many different ways. It's important that you do the one called FSJ. This is why I said it in German. It's not just social year. There are many different things you can do. But our visa from Kenya does not allow us to do the other things. There are other things called BSJ.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is important because I had started with the one called BSJ, Bundesfreiwillige Soziales Jahr, because you earn more money. You earn 450 euros.
Okay.
So I had chosen that one. And then, Caro, I was told by the authorities to leave the country in 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yes, once they found out, they told me you're not allowed to do this and leave the country in 2 weeks.
Did they think that you were... Did you know? Did you know that you were not supposed to do that?
No.
Or did you do it for the money? You didn't know?
I did it for the money.
Yeah.
I thought I had a choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There was not enough information for you
No.
that it's not possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't know that. So this is very important to take the one called FSJ.
And who is allowed to do this BSJ?
Germans.
Okay.
Germans and people from Europe can do this.
Okay.
But with our kind of visa, it's not allowed to do this kind of FSJ, BSJ. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important information.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was very shocked.
Yeah.
You know, you just get a letter where you're told leave the country in 2 weeks.
How long had you done it?
I had done it for 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'd been doing it for 6 months and somehow they'd not noticed.
What about there's a process of registering and all that? Was it, nobody noticed that your passport was not German, or how?
The problem with applying for visa application, and this is something that will be relevant even in the course of this conversation, not everybody who is giving you a visa knows everything.
Okay.
So sometimes it depends on who is giving you the visa. Some people are just not informed about certain things.
And they should, actually, if they're dealing with visas.
Yeah, but if you're the first Kenyan they've ever dealt with in this situation, they just give you the visa because they think, okay, why not? And then there's another person who comes and says, no, this is not allowed. And the tragic thing is that now you're the one who has to bear these consequences. Yeah.
Wow. And now the 6 months, were they lost, or could you just continue now with the FSJ? But now, just tell us, what happened after you were told to go home in 2 weeks?
I panicked. And then I went to my guest mother and told her I have to leave the country in 2 weeks. And she's the one who came with me now to the authorities and told them this is not acceptable. You cannot tell someone to leave the country in 2 weeks. I didn't have flight money. I was not prepared to go back home. And so when they had a conversation, and I found this even later to always be helpful to bring someone along. It doesn't have to be a German, it can just be a friend. But during those times when I was very scared of visa issues, then it was always helpful for me to bring someone.
Yeah.
So we went together and they cleared that up and said, you have to change this visa, this contract very quickly for you to be allowed to continue to stay in this country. And so the lucky thing for me was that I was very hardworking, even in that place where I was working. So when I went there and told them I've been told to leave the country unless this changes immediately, they did everything very quickly for me.
Changed it for you.
They changed it for me and even wrote letters for me so that I could take this to the authorities and then they could change the visa. But even when you see on my passport, that the older passport, there are these big stamps that are illegal. You know,
Wow.
for me it was so scary. Yeah, but then I continued to stay. With
How does that feel when you get that stamp illegal?
Yeah,
Do you feel illegal? Do you feel less than? Because that's a very emotional thing.
it is, because you always feel anyway like you don't belong, and then when now it's so official, illegal, it did something with my self-worth. It's a part, even when I was at the airport, I never wanted them to look through, because now
see
you're
that
flying,
part.
yeah, to see that part. And if they see there's a part with a stamp called illegal, for me I did not want to have it there. Actually, I'm very glad that that passport expired and I have a new one now, so
Yeah.
nobody sees this illegal stamp across my whole passport.
Oh
you
my
know
God.
it's very scary. You're told to leave the country in 2 weeks. How do you do that? You can't wrap up a life of 1.5 years
In 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, yeah.
within 2 weeks without preparation, emotionally, financially, psychologically.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
not ready. So yeah.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
changed your contract and then continued with FS Yacht.
Yeah.
Was it then a continuation?
I had to start again now, FSY. So I
So
did.
6 months were lost.
They were not lost, but they were basically, yeah.
They
I had
didn't
to do
count
FSY. They did not count.
But it wasn't bad, I imagine, because that was another extension of
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
For you.
It was then another year for me.
Yeah.
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 So I did FSY, BSY for 1.5 years.
Okay.
And the good thing is that they still gave me a certificate that was written BSY for 6 months. Because
okay.
in Germany, again, you always have to write your visa, your CV, and it's not good to have big gaps.
Yeah.
In your
What
CV.
were you doing this time? Yeah.
So how are you going to explain 6 months? What were you doing?
Yeah.
So for me, that was good that I could have that as a simple certificate, BSY, so I could explain these 6 months. Yeah.
So you finished the 1 year of FS Yacht.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking? What would happen after the 1 year?
I was thinking I would still go home. This was still the plan. Because when I came, I was told to get married ASAP. I was told, find a husband, get married, get papers to stay in the country. And I tried to get married.
You tried?
I did. I went online. I looked for husbands. I don't know. I never found a husband. I never.
But that has nothing to do. Wambui, you're beautiful.
I know.
And you're looking gorgeous today.
Thank
it has
you.
nothing to do with.
And I feel beautiful. I think I never found someone I wanted to marry, to be honest.
Okay. But was there somebody who was willing? You did not say you're looking for somebody because of the papers, to get papers. You did not say that.
They knew, because the platform. So I went online to look for a husband.
Yeah.
And the platforms I found, of course, it was older people.
Okay.
And they told me I can marry you.
Okay. So it's somebody who knows I'm helping you into this.
Yeah.
And you can be my partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
But somehow I could not. It never, I don't know, it was so unrealistic for me. Or I was not, I think I was just scared. I remember there's even a time I went to one person I had met online. I even went to them. They were much, much older. I think by that time I was 22 or 23 and they were 60, this person. And just the imagination that I'm going to marry this person, I thought, I can't.
But it was more the person than the age, or because there's some very interesting 60-year-olds that I can imagine being with.
Even me right now, they are very interesting 60-year-olds that I can imagine being with.
So
It
it's
was
not
the
age.
cause.
Yeah.
It was this
the reason why you're getting
yeah. And this is also how they will treat you also. It was not this, I want you because of who you are.
Yeah.
It was this, and I'm helping you, so
you also, So you have to do everything they want you to do.
Yeah, you have to be a servant.
You are not an equal partner in that relationship.
Yeah. And I think I'm a person who, as soon as I realize I'm not an equal partner, I have a problem with that. I really have a problem with that. Yeah.
So that stopped being an option after some time.
I think it was never an option. I think I tried it half-heartedly because I thought, at least try.
And that is the advice you were getting.
And it's the advice I was getting. People told me, if you don't do this, you
There's
don't
no
have
other
any
way
other.
out.
There's no other way out. But by this time, I was really saving my money. I had opened savings account.
Yeah, yeah.
I was really saving monies for me to go back home. And then I met my friend Maureen. She's my oldest Maureen. Big up Maureen Okeo. And she was doing Studienkolleg. She wanted to study.
Okay.
She was the first person I had met from Kenya who wanted to study. And so I asked her, so how are you doing this? And she told me, then I have to move to Osnabrück. I have to go and do my Studienkolleg. I told you about Studienkolleg last time, I think. I'm not sure if I told you about Studienkolleg, but I will tell you about that in a moment. But the problem was, it was no longer available in NRV, in our state.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would have had to move from my family for me to do that. So I heard about it, and then I went to my guest parents and told them about it, and then they were like, yeah, but if you move out, we can't really help you, which is, which I could also understand, because if I'm no longer living there, they can no longer be accountable for me. Yeah, so I thought, okay, maybe it's not possible for me, and continued doing FSJ. And then one day, Caro, I'm sitting on a train, and then I meet another Kenyan who tells me again about Studienkolleg. Studienkolleg is when you do your KCSE in Kenya.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we study for 12 years, and Germans study for 13 years.
Yeah.
At least during the time when I was here. There's a time Germany they were studying for, again, 12 years. It was okay. But during that time, for you to graduate, it was 13 years. So for us, there was this year missing. So due to this, you could not be allowed directly to study
in a university.
In Germany at the university.
Ah, okay.
So you basically had to complement what you've studied.
Yeah, with 1 year.
With a 1 year for you to get the allowance.
Okay, yeah.
Study here.
Yeah.
And that is, so you get different courses. You think of what you want to do. There's like gay course where you can now go study humanities. There's T course where you can study technical stuff. And there's M course for the people who do medicine. So you have to check, okay, what do I want to go and study?
Which direction
later?
You want to?
Which direction do I want to go? And depending on that direction, you choose the subjects now.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, sitting on this train, I met this Kenyan girl who told me she's doing Studienkolleg, but remote. She did not have to move to Osnabrück or to another state.
Okay.
She just
long
did
distance
remote.
learning.
Long distance learning.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I had that, I thought, okay, maybe I can try this. Yeah.
Because you would continue living with your
with my guest family. Yeah. Because you have to know, Caro, when you're doing this, your visa does not allow you to do anything. You're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to earn any money. You still
when
have
you
to
have
be insured.
FSJ.
FSJ is something else. Then you are getting
when you're doing
allowance.
This Studienkolleg.
But if you're doing Studienkolleg, it's not a working permit.
And how are you supposed to survive?
Exactly. You really, basically, that's why when you get a visa to study, you always have to have a certain amount of money in your account, around 8,000 euros. Yeah, because you're not allowed to work. Because the reason that if you're working, you're not studying.
And they want you to be here to study.
Yeah, if you're saying you're studying, you're studying. So this was a dilemma because I did not have 8,000 euros in my account. However much I was saving,
it was not that much.
It was not that much, and I could not ask my parents to produce that kind of money.
Yeah.
So for me to live with my guest family meant at least I had a place to live. At least I had food. And for my normal costs, I did cleaning jobs.
Okay.
Yeah. So I cleaned a lot of houses. Yeah, and this is what supported me through that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this lady told you about doing it long distance, and you applied for it with the help of your guest family.
First of all, I went there now. This is where I learned in Germany, go to that place, Google it, and then just go, because there's so much information and some things never really apply to you, and you never know what applies to you. So I really Googled them and saw, okay, they are situated in Cologne. And I just went to them and asked them and told them, this is my situation. This is what I would like to do. what applies for me. And then they told me, okay, you can do this in this course, but remember, this is a remote thing, so you have to be disciplined. We had a class per month, and that was it. So the rest
Just
of the
one
learning,
class per month.
yeah. So the rest of the
You
learning,
go there once per month.
Yeah.
But you're learning all the time. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to learn by yourself. You have your courses. You have to learn by yourself, and once a month you meet as a class. You meet with your professor and the other students. Sort of look at your progress and prepare for the exam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during now that time, you could stay at your guest parents. You took yourself there.
Yeah.
Which I find very confident. How was your language at that time, at that point? How was your German?
It was okay.
You could communicate?
I could communicate. I could understand everything. It was not enough to study, to be honest. That remote studying was quite hard for me because it was not just the language of communicating on a daily basis, because this is what I had learned. I had been working with kids, with people with disabilities. I knew my daily language. But now when you start studying sociology and you start studying, then you get to this, they call it Hochdeutsch, the language you need for studying. And also the German itself, you also had to study German. So yeah, it improved with time, but it was not easy.
Difficult.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Was your family helping you with that, with the studying?
Yeah.
Because you said she was a teacher. The guest mother was a teacher.
Yeah. She was a teacher, and I think what she helped me most with was just the believing. She was this continuation of, if you want it, you can do it. Because even as much as she could have helped me, she could not have done it for you. For me.
Yeah.
I would have had to do it myself.
Yeah.
But her continuous telling me, no, if you're up to this, you can do it.
Yeah.
And also some things like literature. Like I remember we did a book called Iphigenia. I'll never forget that book. It's a book by Goethe that everybody learns in school, and she had a lot of knowledge about that, so she could tell me the story in a different way. Because if you know Goethe, the German in Goethe is like the English in Shakespeare.
Oh yes,
you don't understand it. So she helped me with such things, getting the context. Yeah.
So and then now, after you went to the college and you registered for it, did you stop doing FSJ, or did you? Okay.
Yeah.
And now you are doing, for 1 year, you are doing only this student colleague.
Yeah.
And you are not getting any money except this cleaning jobs, and the family was providing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how does the process go on after that? So when you're finished with the student colleague?
So when you finish with student colleague, you apply for the examination. When you pass, it's always in alignment with the next application for the university. So because these things are so important, the intake for the university is twice a year. So you can't miss that. So you have to wait for your results. Your results come in June, and the end of the intake is in early August.
Oh,
so you have to do this. If you miss this, you have to wait until next year.
Yeah.
So this was...
And time was very of essence here for you.
Yeah. So I applied for, I knew I wanted to study special education. So I applied to every university. And then, I had almost forgotten this. I also applied to another remote university, just in case I'm not accepted at the university. I don't know, something in me told me, probably you won't be accepted. So I applied for another remote private university. And this was bad, Carol, because they sent me the acceptance. I was accepted at this remote university, and they sent me a lot of books, and I immediately had to start paying fees.
Oh no.
But I had not informed myself about this. And then I got accepted in the other universities. So when I saw I've been accepted in Bonn, I've been accepted in Cologne. So I decided, okay, I'll go to Cologne, and forgot about this other university I had applied for, until I got a letter telling me to pay 500 euros.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I have not been earning money for a whole year.
Yeah.
I've been cleaning houses to pay for
the normal thing.
Daily life. So for me, 500 euros was
a lot of money.
How am I going to get this? And I panicked, this is 50,000 Kenyan shillings. I panicked.
Oh my God.
Where am I going to get this?
Yeah.
But again, Germany has taught me, call the people, talk to them. So I called them and told them, I'm really sorry, I don't have the money. And they were really nice. They said, okay, then you can pay it in
installments.
Yeah. So I could start now paying in installments of, I think, 100 euros per month until I was done. And then I had to exmatriculate myself. But it had, because I had signed for the whole, guys, if you sign anything, just read it.
Read your contracts. Read your contracts.
Yeah. And I know that my German was so poor. So I was reading it and signing things, but I didn't really understand what I was saying.
But you know, that is something that got my boyfriend very angry in the beginning, because I could not speak German. And when he brought me something to sign, I did not sign. I never sign anything that I've not read and understood.
Wow.
And now he was telling me, but you cannot read. And I was telling, translate everything for me. And sometimes there were documents with 4 pages.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm not saying, just tell me what it's about. I'm telling him to translate
word by word,
a sentence. And that was sometimes. And then he was thinking, I don't trust him. But I have to feel good about what I am
signing.
You
said it low.
Yeah, I cannot just sign anything that is, and I have that until today. I read everything.
Even after that, I read everything, even the smallest, tiniest.
Yeah.
In German, they call it das Kleingedruckte.
Yeah, Kleingedruckte.
The tiniest.
That is so important.
Especially those tiny things.
Yeah.
Read them. If you don't understand, call them.
Yeah.
I've really learned to call people.
Yeah.
Just call them and ask them, I don't understand this.
Explain. Yeah.
And if you have friends, also ask them for help. I've also really learned to ask friends, can you help me understand? Am I understanding this the right way before I sign?
Yeah. And don't ignore letters. When I had a case of somebody who was working here for me, and because he could not understand German, the letters were coming and he was not opening them. He can't read, so he was not opening them.
Oh, bad news.
Yeah. And then after some time, he brought me so many letters, and there were things that he should have taken care of long ago, where he had problems after that. Please open your letters and read them, or have somebody read them for you.
Yeah.
These things are so important.
Yeah.
Because here in Germany, you have things that are supposed to be taken care of in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you don't answer in 2 weeks, we are taking the next step.
Yeah.
So the next step is taken, you still don't read that letter.
Yeah.
It's just, please open your letters and read them.
It can give you trouble. And especially if they're asking for money from you, this can cost you thousands and thousands of euros just because you did not read it.
Yeah.
And today, it's not like when we came. Today, you even have scanners with your language.
Yes.
So just get your letter, open scan it in your language.
Yeah.
It will translate for you.
Yeah.
You can use DeepL, is a very good translator.
Yeah.
It does a good job. There's Chat GPT. There's even Google. Even Google has become really good.
Yeah.
It's not like a long time
DeepL
ago.
is better.
DeepL is really good.
Yeah.
DeepL is actually one of the best.
Translate these things and make sure you're reading them for yourselves.
Yeah.
If you really need help, ask. Like Wambui says, translate them yourselves and
translate,
read them.
read. Sometimes
make sure you
understand.
Yeah.
But at least
you've read
look
them.
at them. You've read them. If there's a date, make sure you meet that.
Yes.
And then don't throw them
Very
away.
important. Very important.
Don't throw them away. Another thing I've learned.
File everything.
File everything.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know why. just file it. It's better to throw it away later than to have thrown it away now and then you don't know.
Yeah.
So what I came up with my system of, I have years for files. So like this year I have 2023. And in that file I will have everything.
Yeah.
My insurance, my studies, whatever, transport, whatever I have, this is
You
the year
have it in
2023
that,
is in that file. So if I need something that happened this year, I will just go back to that file.
Yeah. Important. Very important. Yeah. And now you decided to go where? You were accepted in Köln, you have Cologne, you were accepted in Bonn. Which university did you choose and why?
I decided to go to Cologne because they are the ones who had accepted me for special education for the hearing impaired.
You specifically wanted hearing impaired?
No, I wanted special education for anything. I didn't mind. But Bonn did not have special education.
Okay.
They had accepted me for education.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
English and history. So I decided to go to Cologne because, because
Of the
special education.
Okay.
But I also have to say, back then, special education paid better than normal education. So again, for me,
at the back of your mind, there's always
money.
This issue of money.
Yeah.
How much am I earning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Which
has
is very
always
important.
been. Yeah.
Yeah. And where were you earning money when you were studying now, when you started studying?
When I started studying,
you had to move from your guest family, or were you still living there? Here's a quick one to tell you about our sponsors, TDX Media. I've been working with TDX Media for about 5 years now, and this has saved my life, literally saved my life. TDX Media has a way of helping you to optimize your office work. So I am a very chaotic person. My office was looking like you can imagine it. And then TDX Media came and they really helped me to optimize the processes, especially the processes of how I work, what should happen when, they came and advised me. They came and sorted out most of my files and all that, because I am not that. And then my website, it's beautiful because it is being maintained, it is being serviced by TDX Media. And then the CEO of the company, Christian Tiedemann, who does all that, comes to you, advises you, he talks to you, he listens to your needs, and then crafts everything according to how you need it, but adding his professionalism in everything that he does, such that at the end of it all, and he will not use anything he doesn't think is okay for the person visiting your website. So if your photos are not good enough, then he'll not put them in. And that is the level of professionalism that I need when I'm working with someone, so that they just don't do everything I tell them to do. They tell me, okay, it's your website, but it has my name on it. So he will not do anything that is not professional enough. And the other thing is event management. Guys, these guys are so organized. TDX Media is so organized. They have taken control and over. They organize our African festival, which happens every year. So I have nothing to do with it. The first year I organized it myself. I almost went crazy. And nowadays I just get calls, or when we're talking, it's a yes, no, and I have nothing to do with it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I love working with these people. I love the way they, present themselves in a way that is, I will talk about professionalism the whole time, because that is what they are. They are professionals. And you see that in everything they do. When they're doing consultations with you, they are very specific in everything that they're doing. You can only be satisfied when you're working with TDX Media. And I'm so glad that I have trusted us now to sponsor our podcast. And I've been working with them all this time, satisfied with their work. I'll continue working with them. So please visit their website, www.tidix.de. That's www.tidx.de. Visit them, because you'll be doing yourself a favor. Thank you so much.
I stayed there for 1.5 years still.
So you are commuting to go to the
I was
uni?
commuting, yeah.
Okay.
I was taking the train.
How far was it from where you were living?
A good hour.
A good hour, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would commute, and then I would still help them with the housework, taking
the
the kids
children.
to school.
Yeah.
I continue doing the things that I used to do as au pair, but instead of now going for language course, I went to the university. Yeah. So this transition was very important for me, because I didn't have to start everything afresh in Cologne by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
But were you supposed to pay any fees for the university?
Yes, but it's not much. Per semester, we used to pay 270 euros, I think.
That's not much.
This is not much.
Semester is 6 months.
Semester is 6 months. This is why I decided to study here. Because
At
I
home,
knew,
you'd have paid a lot of money.
yeah. Again, a money issue. If I had gone back to Kenya with the money I had saved, I would never have been able to study with it.
So were you financing your studies with the money you had saved?
Yeah. And also jobbing.
Jobbing, yeah. Of course, yeah.
You have to work.
Yeah.
Because there are people who get financial support. It's called BAföG. But again, with people with our visas, you don't get this. Because again, you have gotten this visa after promising that you can take care of yourself.
Yes.
So the government
will not provide you with any money.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to work. But for me, it was okay because, I finished my studies with very little debt. I know some of my friends who finished their studies with thousands of euros debt. This is not something I had.
Yeah.
But this meant that I really had to work a lot when I was studying.
Yeah.
Because I was still sending money home. I was still financing my studies. Later, I moved out of my guest parents' house, so I had to finance that, pay the house, pay rent.
How about insurance? You're paying insurance yourself.
Yeah.
So you really, really had to work in order to finance everything.
Yeah. I had to.
But you're allowed to work
20 hours a week. You can't work the way you want. I remember there was a time I went home and someone was telling me, look at all these years you've been there. You could be working at night and studying during the day. You could be earning more money. And I just thought, that's well and good, but you can't do such things in Germany.
Yeah, but also when you're a human being.
Yeah, well, not really. Not really. Study at night, go to study during the day. Yeah. People will tell you things.
You can do a few hours because even people here, everybody does that. But you cannot work the whole night, and you can for some time. And then after some time.
But it will break you. I tried that for a while. I had 3 jobs. I was working 3 jobs, studying with my little German. At some point, I almost got crazy. It's not advisable to do that.
How do you cope then with all this stress? Because I imagine this to be a very stressful situation.
Oh, it was stressful.
You're learning, you're doing what you want to do, but then, and also the issue of you have to send money home.
Yeah.
Normally, students get money from their parents,
Yeah.
but you don't have that luxury.
No.
So you have this responsibility. You have to study. You have to be good in school. You have to work. You have to send money home.
And you don't understand the language. Like we used to sit in lecture halls with 600 people. I used to stay in front because, first of all, in the 600 hall, you understand nothing. And even when you're sitting in front, you still understand nothing. And you have to pass this exam because your visa depends on it, meaning your future depends on it. So, and also your job depends on it. Everything you do with this
depends
on how well you're performing at the university. So there's a lot of pressure. And I told you I used to identify myself with being clever. And so for the first time, I was experiencing myself as not so clever. And with this pressure, this is when I started drinking a lot. For me, this was my go-to.
You started...
I had started already drinking alcohol when I came here because it was new. I grew up in this very strict family. Religious. We used to fast every Thursday. We used
to...
Yes. We were not allowed to wear trousers. We were not... Even my hair, like I've said before, me with locks will never have been allowed in that house. No boys. Nothing. I wasn't even allowed to read Harry Potter. And so I come to this world where everything is free. Alcohol is very cheap. And then I went to the university. There's this life and people drink. There are kiosks called Speti where you can go. Speti means you can go there all night.
They're selling alcohol all night.
All night. And alcohol in Germany is very cheap. Alcohol sometimes is cheaper than
very
water.
Cheap. Yeah.
Actually, when you're in these clubs, student clubs, the water was more expensive.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Water is more expensive than alcohol.
Yes, the water was more expensive. So you could have a glass of beer for €1 and the water was 250. Yeah, and so I discovered this and I got into this nightlife and I started feeling like I belong now. Because every time I was at the university, I was the only black person in the whole hall. I always felt...
Because I think that field you went into is...
It's very wide.
Yeah.
Layer
and it's also not something many people from Africa would choose to do.
No, nobody goes to Germany to study teaching.
No,
It's
not
it doesn't
really.
even have this. Nobody's impressed when you're a teacher. You know,
Who's a
people
teacher?
look at you and you're like, you went all the way to Europe and
To be
why
a
didn't
teacher.
you do IT?
Yeah, this
or
highly
engineering
seen, yeah,
or
yeah.
medicine? These are things that people accept, you know, or law. Like
That's
you
what
study.
you went to study abroad.
Yes,
But you went abroad to be a teacher.
Yeah, who does that? Especially, why would you do that?
But when I know how difficult you've had it with this studying of, because I don't think there's any other. There's so many things that are important, but you're studying something that you're supposed to teach children.
Yeah.
So it's one of the most important jobs.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. And I really wanted it. Because, you know, Caro, teachers changed my life. I remember there's a teacher who took me, we were very poor. She took me from that school and took me to another one. And because of this teacher, I am here now.
Where you are. Yeah.
I'm here now because of a teacher. And I think in me, I always wanted this. So in this pressure of me wanting to be this person that I am not, going home and having this picture of you're not doing good enough, but being here and doing all that I can, I could not bring these two feelings together. And the alcohol really helped at the beginning, because whenever I will drink, I will feel like it doesn't matter. Everything is fine. You go party, you come back, you belong.
But how are you managing uni? Drunk? Or how much were you drinking?
At first, I wasn't drinking much, but it started now getting more. I now started drinking as medicine for me. I got into a very deep depression. I got very suicidal at some point. It was really, really horrible. I wanted to go home, but I couldn't go home because I was asking myself, where are you going? With what? Because now I had been here for 5-6 years and I felt like I have nothing. I have achieved nothing. So cut down my studies, go home, do what? For me, now I know if I go home, there is something for me to do. But at this moment when everything was so dark, I could not see what will I go to do. So I started drinking. It got more and more and more. And it came to a point where even when I was going to the library, I would drink first. Like
that means you're not only drinking in the evening now. You're drinking during the day.
I was also drinking during the day. Like I remember when I was writing my bachelor thesis, because in my head I was telling myself, let me drink wine, I'll calm myself down and then write. Because I had gotten to this panic. There was this panic. You have to finish. You have to do this. You have to do this. You can't do it. You have to do it. So I will drink, I will calm down, and then I will start writing. And in my head, I was writing really amazing things. But of course, I had gotten to a point where I was drinking, but I wasn't eating. So it was a very chaotic life. I didn't even know what I was really doing. And when I finished writing my bachelor thesis, I think I totally broke down. I had a nervous breakdown. I could not stop crying. It was just because I had finished writing my bachelor thesis, but I wasn't done with my studies. There was still 2 credit points I had not done from the first semester.
That you had to repeat.
That I had to repeat.
Or do, yeah.
Or do, actually, because I had never done them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could not imagine going to do them again. The thought of going back to the university and do it, for me, it was unimaginable. I couldn't. And just this thought of, after all this, you've done all this, and now you have nothing, for me, it was just really unbearable.
So you could not have had a certificate if you did not do this too?
No, I couldn't.
Oh my.
And then there came other things. I was supposed to have language, another language, apart from English and German. It's a requirement if you want to graduate with your bachelor's. So for me, all my life, all this time I was studying, I thought I have enough languages. You know, I have Kikuyu, I have Kiswahili, I have English, I have German. So I never at one point thought this will be an issue. I just go and tell them, I
These
have
are
these
the languages I
choose
have.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when I was going to get the stamp, they told me no. I told them German is my language that I would like to. It's Fremdsprache.
Yeah, yeah. Foreign
language.
Yes.
And they said, no, you can't take German as a foreign language because it's a language you used to study in. And so I told them, okay, you can take English. And then they said, no, English, because you also studied English, you cannot take it as your foreign language. And then I told them, okay, I also speak Kiswahili. And they said, no, Kiswahili is not a language. And they refused to give me a stamp for Kiswahili.
It's not a language.
They said it's not a language. And
because
I believed them.
They did not recognize it as a language.
And I believed them. So you know what I did? I went to study French.
Oh my God.
And then it was so hard. It was so hard. So in this hardship of, I don't have 2 credit points, I have to study this French, a new language now, I'm not getting it. It just became too much for me. And I thought, I can't do it. I won't do it anymore. I'm done. And then I went to a woman, and I'm so, again, the most important thing for me I've learned, ask for help. Really ask for help, because at that point, if I did not go to this woman and tell her, I don't know what else to do, I think I would have stopped my studies. Like I'm telling you, I was suicidal on almost a daily basis.
Were you still working? So you were drinking, you were working, you were going to college?
I'm going to the university. I'm studying French.
Oh my God. Are you studying French in the university?
Yes. Oh my God. So it's just because otherwise I would have had to study French in a language school. And this is really expensive.
You have to pay it yourself.
Yeah. You have to pay it yourself. And this is the same money that you're trying to divide to live with all these other things that you have to pay for. So I could not afford another language course. And I remember I went to this woman in Cologne and told her, I can't continue anymore. I don't know how to continue living like this. And so she just asked me, have you talked to a psychologist? By this time, I was even looking for a psychologist. But
because of this suicidal
and hopelessness.
Thoughts, yeah.
It's actually the hopelessness. And today I've come to understand this suicidal being this thing of, I can't live my life like this anymore. So it's not like I don't want to live anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I can't live this way anymore. Yeah. I need a new solution.
Yeah, and the solution of going home is out. So you're kind of not seeing a way out.
Yeah, I could not see a way out
of the situation.
And this is what depression does to you. And by then I did not know that this is depression. Depression takes away hope. You know, when you have hope.
Oh, wow.
Even if things are bad, but you know, it's okay. They're bad now, but I am hopeful.
Things will get better.
They will get better. But at this point, I had lost hope. And I think hope is the one thing that you need in life.
You need hope in life.
You need hope. You don't need... You need friends, but hope, being hopeful. That for me, that is the most important thing in my life today. Knowing that things can be bad today, but that doesn't mean the rest of my life is bad.
Yeah.
And in depression, you look at your life and it's all gray. It all makes no sense. So even when people tell you, oh, go for walks, it doesn't make sense because you're not even interested in solving that problem.
No.
You just want to stay. You don't care anymore. And I think this is why I did not really care anymore. And I had also gotten to a point where, again, opening the emails, I had not been opening my emails for long, so I had not been paying for my insurance for months.
Oh my God.
And I had been getting letters, pay your insurance.
You were not opening them?
I was not opening them because, again, everything has become too big for me. So I had a huge debt with the insurance, and they had even said that they're going to stop insuring me. And in Germany, you cannot stay
you have to be
in this
insured
country without being insured.
Yeah.
So I was looking at, and I had also lost my visa. I don't know, so many things were
no longer
working. I don't know, I had misplaced it because of the drinking. I was losing things. I was losing phones. I was losing visas, paperwork.
So are we thinking of this? I'm thinking of this Kamlevi on the street singing.
No, I was not the singing kind. No, I was not singing. No. I was not singing. I was crying.
You were crying?
Yeah, I used to sit with my wine in the house and cry and regret ever coming to this country. For me, I associated coming to Germany now with this. What were you thinking? What were you even thinking?
You'd have
Why
stayed
did you come?
home.
You will have stayed home. Maybe you will have a family now. You will have kids. Now you're here. You have no kids. You have no studies. You have no money. And soon you will not be insured. And there's no one. In my mind now, there was no one that I could tell, can you help? So it was just like, I don't know what to do.
Were you still in contact with your guest parents, or not really?
Not so much. And this is another thing with depression. You isolate yourself.
Yeah, you isolate yourself. Yeah.
So I was really very much isolated. Even my friends today, when some people will hear this story and they'll be like, what? Because they did not notice. And I didn't tell anyone because also of the shame.
Yeah.
You know, I was very ashamed of now becoming this person. You know, people have hope. You've come to Europe. People have this hope in you. You're going to change their lives. You're going to help your family. You are going to be, especially when you come from where I come from, Carol, because we were poor. We were poor in a way that we didn't have food sometimes. So when you come from that and you come to Europe,
you are the hope. You are the hope, yeah. You'll change people's lives after that.
And now you are hopeless.
Yeah. You're here drinking and just...
And you cannot dare be hopeless, Carol. When you're in the diaspora and you're the solution for someone else, you cannot dare be hopeless. Because you're being hopeless and then what? You can't.
You're carrying lives of so many people on your shoulders.
Yeah.
It's not only your own.
It's not only your own. And so when I heard of this, I Googled actually. And so there was a woman who was taking care of black women who had migrated to Germany. And I went to her and told her, I can't live my life like this anymore. It's gotten too much. And she told me, okay, what you're going to do, you're going to drop everything and I will take you to the hospital. You are sick. And this is the first time someone told me, you're sick. I did not know I was sick. I thought I was being indisciplined. I thought I was being a bad person. I thought all these things about
Putting
myself.
the blame on yourself.
Putting the blame on myself. She's the first person who told me, you're sick. You're very sick and you need medical attention. And she took me personally also to the hospital. And the people there also said, yeah, you're very sick. They took me in and I stayed at the hospital for 2 months. 8 weeks I stayed there.
What kind of sickness was that? Oh, the depression.
Yeah.
The depression. Okay.
So it was a station for also abusing drugs and alcohol.
Because of the alcoholism too.
Yeah, because of alcohol, but also for trauma and depression. And so this is when now they started telling me, okay, what you're going through is a mixture of burnout and depression. And they gave me medication for that. And so when I was there, I could now calm down and settle and stop. I stopped studying for 6 months. I didn't go to the university anymore. I just took care of my health.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry. I think. And how was? Did you have any relationships, like dating? Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore.
No, I mean during this time you were studying. And
I used to have a boyfriend, a German boyfriend, and then we broke up that relationship. So during this period, there was really no one. I didn't have any emotional capacity for
to be with someone.
To be with someone. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I actually I was thinking we would talk about so many things today, but that has taken now another turn of this depression in the diaspora.
Yeah.
A topic that we really, really want to tackle and talk about deeply.
Yeah.
When Wendell she also talked about depression. I also have my story of depression because it's something that so many of us go through.
Yeah.
So many of us.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the pressure of also you, and you cannot compare these situations because it was the studying, the lack of money and all that. Me, it was something else, living with somebody and a very different story.
Pressure.
But depression is depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
this loss of hope and feeling like you cannot go on.
you start feeling useless.
Yeah.
And this is so tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you came out of it.
I did.
You came out of it. And you finished also your bachelor.
I finished my bachelor's. I stopped drinking. I got my language. Kiswahili, by the way, people, is a language.
Thank you.
Let me now just
Thank you.
let me take this opportunity to let you know.
Yeah.
Kiswahili is a language. And actually, this was such an important story because when now I got out of the hospital, I had so much more energy, you know, with having stayed there. And I went and Googled what is a language because I had studied language in 3 different forms. I told you I studied for the hearing impaired. So there was language in it. I studied English. I studied German.
Yeah.
And so I went and studied, how do you define language?
Yeah.
What does it need to have
for it to be a language?
Because I wanted to go and prove to this
that
woman
Swahili is a language.
that Swahili is a language. How many people need to speak it? How about the morphology, syntax, all the phonology? Does it have this? And it had it.
And those are requirements of a language. That is what a language. That is after Googling,
After Googling it. And I don't know how many millions people have to speak it for it not to be a dialect. Because she was saying it's a dialect.
Okay.
Not a language, it's a dialect.
Okay, I get you,
Yeah. And so, and I also found out, thank you, Ngogo Thiongo, that Luxembourgish is a language, but it's spoken by fewer people, way fewer people than Kiswahili. Even German is spoken by fewer people
than Swahili. Yeah.
So if Kiswahili is not a language, then German cannot be a language.
Wow.
And I went armed, Caro, with this
information
to this person. I want to tell you, you're going to sign this. I am not going to study another new language. Do you know how hard it is to learn a language? Of course you know because you've learned German.
Yeah, but French.
A new language.
Yeah.
I went to tell her I cannot. And I found a woman of color there. And she told me, you don't need to prove any. Of course, Kiswahili is a language. It's taught at the university.
It's taught. It was even being taught at the university.
It was being taught at the university. I found it in the list of Lingala, French. It was just lined up there.
Oh my God.
The anger because of this frustration of trying so many things and then just going and seeing is actually there. It was just one person who decided it's not a language, and this cost me 6 months. One person.
Oh my God.
It cost me 6 months of my life.
And the stress.
And the
emotional
drainage of really thinking, what am I good? What did I bring from my country?
Yeah, nothing.
Even
you are
nothing. You are nothing.
You are nothing.
If your language is also worthless. So what do you bring? What do you have to offer? But I'm glad for all these experiences because today I just need to hear from the corner of my ear and I turn so fast. So what did you say?
Yeah.
Because this experience has taught me so much. So today I sit here having finished my bachelor's and my master's.
You did your master's after that?
I did my master's after that, and it was a totally different story because I learned to take care of myself. Maybe this is something we can talk about in another time.
I know that.
To see myself as a human being. And I learned to tell my mom, I don't have money. And I realized it's not a big deal for her. So
you
much
are
of the
stressing
pressure,
yourself and wanting to do it. And they could survive without the money.
But I had so much pressure that she was not.
Because you're abroad.
Yeah.
And this is expected.
Yeah. But my mom, when I told her, no, this month won't work, she's like, okay, don't worry. You know, and I've learned to tell them, even my siblings, I've learned to tell them, when I have enough, I send. But I don't send from an empty cup.
No, you can't.
Because I can't.
Yeah. And I remember you were telling me there was a time you were in debt because you were...
Yes.
Yeah, you were taking money to send money you did not have.
Yeah. And once you get in minus in this country, it's so hard, especially if you're not earning enough to get out of it. So you're paying more taxes to send money home, and maybe they can also survive that 1 month without you crushing yourself. And in this country, I have to pay my rent, I have to pay my insurance, I have to pay all these things.
Everything, yeah.
Nobody is telling me. I can't come to the owner of the house and say, this month I will not work.
Yeah, but that is you're still a bit protected even by the law here that he cannot kick you out, but still it's your responsibility.
It's your responsibility. And it has way more consequences than just saying.
It's even, I just want to say that it's even better protected here than in Kenya. In Kenya, somebody will come and put a padlock in your door. Here, they're not allowed to do that. They're not.
By the way.
Yeah. So these are things you also have to pay your rent, but in case you cannot, you're protected by
just
the law somehow. Just don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Don't. Yeah. Yeah. And then now the masters. Oh, that's, congratulations.
Thank you.
After all that. So how long did your masters take?
My master's now took 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And that ran a bit smoothly than your bachelor's. Yeah.
That was much smoother because the drinking was no longer an issue. I wasn't drinking anymore. Okay. And I had my job still, but it was not, I was not doing cleaning and then working here and then working in another job. So I had 2 good jobs because I had already graduated.
Money, yeah.
So they were earning me not too much, but it was enough for me to live with.
Yeah.
And then I had started singing, so I had more.
Okay. Yeah.
And I also got a lot into anti-racism work because this, for me, this was a big issue, even with the depression. Getting to understand how this was affecting me, and so this anti-racism work also helped me a lot to work
and
out
also
my
understanding
own,
yourself,
understanding myself and why I was feeling the way I was feeling, and also helping now others. To also understand.
I think this thing of service, helping others.
You teach what you need to learn, and this has really helped me so much because this is what I needed to learn. And in turn, I mean, every paper I wrote about this, and with everything I've written. It has helped me to heal a bit more. And when I read books from Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, for me this was real healing. Literature was a big part of my healing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you finished the masters.
Yeah.
And you had to do an internship.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that
internship. Part I was more a part of it. Like we had now become friends.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't. Why do you have to do that? So when you finish your master's, is it done by everybody or is it a requirement as a teacher to do this internship? Where the word referendariat, I was hearing that every evening, every day. Referendariat. Yeah, that's internship.
Yeah. You have to do it in several jobs, actually. It's not just teaching. Lawyers have to do that also.
Yeah, clerkship.
I think in medicine, they also have to do it. So in Germany, once you've done your master's, and you cannot be a teacher without a master's. You have to do your master's.
Okay.
You can't just do your bachelor's. And once you're done with your master's, you also have to do this internship that goes on for 1.5 years. And then you're a qualified teacher. But the problem with that now, I mean, even Germans are scared of that. If you talk about teaching internship, nobody loves it. And I also didn't love it. But my big problem now was that I was actually not allowed to do it. And I did not know
why.
Because I'm not German. And for you to do this, you have to be a worker of the state. And this is
the teaching thing. The teachers.
The internship.
The internship for teaching.
Yeah. Just the internship part. Once you're done, you can be a normal employee.
A teacher somewhere.
Yeah. But during the internship, you have to be Verbeamtet, is like the worker of the state. So you get sworn
civil servant.
You're a civil servant.
Yeah.
Exactly. Civil servant is the word.
Yeah.
And you cannot be a civil servant in Germany if you're not German. And nobody, during all this time, I'm struggling with Deutsch and and the language. And nowhere had I heard about this information. So this is me finishing my master thesis and writing a thesis. It's also another pain. I can tell you it's a pain, It's sleepless nights. I know there are times I used to write the whole night, And so I'm trying to write while I organize my visa. And the visa, they're telling me, no, sorry, you're not allowed. You cannot do it. And I remember I used to call these people at the foreign immigration offices and telling them, you cannot do this to me. I've worked so hard. I've done this for so many years. You cannot now tell me, you can't tell me now I cannot continue. This is impossible. And they said, sorry,
That's a law.
we can't help you. It's the law. I went to professors. I went up to Düsseldorf to the Bezirksregierung,
To the headquarters.
To the headquarters. I went and told them. And by this time, I had finished my master thesis. And may I actually also say I finished my master thesis with a 1.0.
1.0. That's AA plus.
This is AA plus.
Yes.
This is coming from my bachelor's with total, I think with bachelor's I had 2.7. And my master's I finished with the thesis, 1.0. So I went with that certificate and told them, this is me. I came from Kenya. I've worked so hard. You cannot tell me that I cannot continue with my studies. It's not acceptable for me. And they said,
That's
it's
so unfair.
Not. It's so unfair, Caro. I used to cry.
Unfair.
I used to cry. I used to call the people at the immigration offices, and when they say no, I would cry. And I was telling those women, I hope your child never has to go through this.
Oh my
I hope
God.
anybody you know never has to go through this.
Oh my God.
Because can you imagine, you've worked so hard for one thing, and the end, just right at the end, someone tells you, no, sorry, you can't do this. And you cannot work as a teacher without this. I mean, you can work in school, but you will never be a qualified teacher without it.
After studying all that long.
I felt like, and now this was not the depression, now this was anger. I had now come from being depressed.
Okay.
I had come to this, there was so much anger. And I remember one day after I was told, you cannot do this, I closed everything. I booked a flight and went back home to Kenya. I thought, I'm done. I'm done.
Were you done and now I'm going to Kenya, or did you just need a break?
I was done.
Done like you would have stayed in Kenya.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm going back home. Let me go and see what will happen. But I was prepared to go and see, is there a possibility for me home? Because they had told me it's not possible.
And not possible means we are not giving you a visa now.
Yeah.
So you've been in this country, you've started now, you finished, go.
Yeah, at least not for that. I would have had to do something else. And then I wanted to do a PhD. I even got a doctor father and everything, because I thought, okay, if I cannot do this, then let me do a PhD. But then they could not change my visa to become a PhD visa. I would have had to change it. So many
Complicated.
rules. So complicated that I could not do it at that point, and I had to be sponsored. Again, I stood in front of a wall that I was not sure how I was going to cross it. So I let it go. I booked a flight. I went back home. I remember even that day, I reached home at around 10. I had not even told my mom I'm coming. I just knocked and entered.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then what do you say? Do you say,
I don't know.
Did
You don't
you
tell them
lie?
such things.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
I just said hello first. And then after some days, then I told them I'm having this problem. And home, you can try to explain, but they don't understand such things. It's not this.
Not really.
It's not the same way I tell you and you understand because you've gone through the process. My mom cannot understand this. She can't even understand why it's a problem. And
then you can go and clean. Then you stay in Germany and
yeah, do something. Or even come back. My mom is actually also tells me, just come back then.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it was not an option. Anyway, to cut the story short, I think 1 week into being home, I get a letter from them, and they tell me my visa has been accepted.
Wow.
I can come and take it next Wednesday.
And you're in Kenya?
And I'm in Kenya. So I fly back.
Oh my God.
I came, went for the visa, and the next day was the swearing in.
Oh
if
my
I had
God.
missed this day, I would
You'd
have
not
had
have-
to wait again for another year.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Again, time.
Time.
Everything is on time. Yeah.
You were sworn in.
Yeah.
You did
I was sworn in. I lifted my hand and said, I swear to serve the German government. It's so surreal.
Yeah. And you are first of all, congratulations, because
Thank
you
you.
now have your first job.
Yeah.
Is it a month now? Or is it 2? In June?
2.
In June. This is your second month?
Yeah.
You've been in Germany for 10 years?
13
years?
Yeah.
13 years?
Yeah.
And this is the second month where Wambui has the first official job where she's getting a salary.
Yeah.
This is, you know, I cannot even start to process that.
Yeah.
And the feeling.
Yeah.
Because now you're not getting 260 euro. It's a bit more.
Thank God.
How is it? I know you're buying shoes.
Yeah. I bought shoes.
You've been buying shoes. How is it to finally have a salary where you, at the end of the month, you don't have to think, can I buy a croissant or something to eat that is a bit more expensive? Mm-hmm. Do I have enough money to pay rent? How is that feeling for you?
I have to get used to it because I'm still scared of spending money. I'm still scared of spending something that looks expensive for me.
I know that. I know that.
And it's a strange thing because when I go for wellness, these are the things I learned. I learned to take care of my emotional well-being. For this, I will give anything.
Spend money.
I spend money on it. I don't care. I always need to have my mind okay. But things, I get so scared. If something is costing 50 euros, for me, it's very scary. If I spend it now, will I still have it? So there's still this fear of poverty, of being poor in the diaspora. Poverty mentality in the diaspora.
In the diaspora, yeah.
So, and I know my friend Carol here is trying hard. I'm getting a crash course out of poverty mentality, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Because
I'm trying to let you feel, be in the moment, and allow yourself to enjoy this. Something you have worked so hard for.
Yeah. For so long.
You've worked so hard for this.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to enjoy it. Allow yourself to see shoes that you like and say, I'm buying myself this.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to consider many other things, but that's what I did. When I started earning money for the first time, I bought myself shoes that I thought, this is my sister's rent for 3 months. Yeah. And I had some guilt, but then at some point I thought, no, I'm working
the guilt
so
of
hard.
This money, I could send this money home.
Yeah, I'm working so hard for this.
And I worked hard, especially I used to wake up at 3 a.m.
I know.
To work,
3
a.m.
Yeah.
And I would do it not once. I will do it the whole week.
Yeah.
Just working.
The tears.
All the time.
The tears.
The tears.
How much you cried, Wambui.
I cried. My God. Yeah. I never knew that this was... It was
at
even
some point,
to be
even
so
wanting
frustrated.
to give up.
Yeah.
And,
I've wanted to give up so often, really. And I think this is also maybe someone who's listening to us who wants to give up. Talk to someone.
Don't. Yeah. Have someone, because we were talking a lot during that time.
And this helped.
And
this really helped.
It helps to have someone who is who's there for you.
Yeah.
And even just to listen. Because in so many situations I could not help you.
Yeah.
I was just listening.
Yeah.
And just reminding you, this is a new day. Yesterday's gone.
Yeah.
Wambui, 3 months to go. Wambui, 1 month to go. Wambui, 2 weeks to go. So this will come to an end. You remember how we were talking about this will come to an end?
And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe one day I would be done. Just done with it. And claim with myself, I'm done with that.
Yeah,
and
this
I
chapter
did a good
is now
job.
closed.
This chapter is closed. I never have to do that again.
Yeah.
And it belongs to me. No one will ever take it away from me. It's not like a car or a house. It belongs to me. It belongs to my identity now.
Yes.
And this is a good feeling. This is a good. When I sign my letters and I sign who I am, it gives me a good feeling. And I know I'm already enough, but putting this on that, it has taught me that I can sit with something that I don't want to sit with and finish it. And this is such an important thing even for my self-worth.
Yeah.
I can finish things even if I don't want to finish them.
Yeah. And the patience. Just be patient, guys. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Really. Yeah. Be patient, but don't be patient and sit at home.
No.
Be doing something.
Yeah.
Be on the move.
Yeah.
Be on the move.
Yeah.
If
you do it, the only thing that will happen for you not to finish things is when you actually stop.
Yeah. When you stop. Yeah.
But
yeah.
if you don't stop, even when you're frustrated, it's even better to take a break.
Yeah.
Take a break, tell yourself, okay, I'm not looking at this for the next 2 months. Okay. And then come back to it. But stopping is like now, because I have friends who did not finish studies, many actually. But that only happened when they actually officially stopped.
Stop. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I also had a period of 6 months, even almost a year where I didn't study anymore.
You just break. You just take a break.
I took a break because I couldn't continue doing it anymore. But then when I was ready, I went back. So it's okay to take a break. Just don't take away your chance by stopping, because stopping is so final.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking of final, I think this is a conversation that it's really interesting for me also, because I've had things that we've not talked about until now. And that is why I'm loving this conversation so much. And I know you are still in that being interviewed mode. So the question is now coming. Wambui is now on the hot seat.
Okay.
And forget everything we've been talking about, because this is just another question. It's related a bit. And my hot seat question for you today is, so I asked you about relationships and you told me there weren't any during that time. So, boy, were you fornicating with yourself?
Carol, are you asking me if I was masturbating?
Yes. That is exactly my question. Were you masturbating during that time?
You know, my students could be watching this.
Yes. Yes. But what did we say? We said we are asking anything and everything.
Okay. Yes, I was. Actually, I bought myself sex toys.
Okay.
So
you went to all of these sex toy shops in Germany are open shops like
Yes,
any
like a supermarket.
other. It's like a supermarket.
Yeah.
You go there and they're everywhere, sizes, shapes, everything.
yeah.
Everything.
So I went to one of those shops.
You had money to spare. You had money for alcohol.
Actually, the first sex toys I was given as a present.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
By a boyfriend?
No, by a friend who was a man.
Who thought
Who
you
thought
really
I
needed
it? Who thought I needed? Oh, wait. I think he looked at me and had mercy. Like this
really
one.
needing.
This one needs help. And because I was so Christian, when I saw them, I was like, how dare you? How dare you get me such things? Demonic.
Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
good.
But now I learned to go to sex shops. Even when I go to Hamburg, I just walk in just to see. So, yes.
Yes, you were using
Sometimes I was
the help
using
of
them. Sometimes I wasn't. So, yes.
Wow. Thank you.
That was... You wait for your question. You wait for your question.
This is so good. Good. Especially that one of, were you fornicating with yourself?
This is a lot. Eh?
And now I think it's better we go and eat now. I'm giving you something to eat. I'm giving, like we end this podcast, guys. I'm also feeling hot now after this question.
You're bad. You're bad. Really?
I have to be mean.
Wait for your question. Eh? Your question is doing push-ups.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Let's go eat now. And then, I've prepared a very nice dish for Wambui. Subscribe to our channel. You see how much fun we are having here. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere. And this just feels like a sofa conversation. That's why I'm even forgetting to say bye-bye. So, bye-bye for now.
Everyone.
I think Wambui needs some hot water, some cold water to pour on herself now. Bye-bye, guys.
Voodoo?
Yes.
Oh, matoke.
Good part. Let me squeeze myself. This seat. After some time, we'll not be fitting into these seats when we continue eating like this.
Especially
so,
this
guys,
food.
this is the part that Wambui loves, the food. And today I've made her something really Kenyan, matoke. That's green bananas in a very nice tomato and peanut sauce.
Wow.
And it's really food we love.
It smells delicious.
Yeah.
And it has dania on it.
Yes. The colors. You know me.
I know you.
Yeah.
I know you with the colors.
Yeah. Just try this and let's see.
This is for me.
Of course, this is for you.
Let me dive in.
Yes, I think I'll just take that plate like this. This is how we used to eat at home anyway. Yeah. That's how I... You like it? She can't even speak. So, guys, you're getting this recipe on my website, www.chefcarolshow.com. So, Wambui will enjoy it now, but you can go and make it at home. And yeah, we just continue enjoying this dish. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.